Under Oath with the Ohio Free Press. I'm here with Hombre Liggett, and we're out on a beautiful Friday evening. Good evening, Hombre.
Hello, Vic. It's good to be here with you.
Very good. Thanks for coming out and meeting with us tonight. Hey, we go through a battery of questions that are just really simple stuff with the Ohio Free Press. We're really just trying to get those that join our site to kind of get a feel for who you are, and we answer just some simple questions. You up for that?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Very good. Some of the candidates, describe themselves as Reagan conservatives, constitutionalists, or party line candidates, Democrat, Republican. We'd like to know, where do you classify yourself and your beliefs and views, and define that to the people that are listening for us.
Well, first of all, I'm a principled constitutional conservative, and so obviously the principle is valued in faith. It's valued in just my family-based morality. Constitutional meaning that, I believe in the principles our founding fathers laid out by the Constitution. I feel like it was those beliefs and those principles that saved our country in 1786. I believe it's those principles that can save our country again. And of course, I'm a conservative, and so most of the views, most of the places I stand on, I guess, the political spectrum, very conservative, but all of those conservative ideas are rooted and grounded in constitutional authority and constitutional restraint. I feel that's where we need to be. That's the rules we're supposed to be playing by. So first and foremost, I put myself there as a principled individual.
Very good. Second question, it takes a lot of time and effort to run a campaign like this, and through the Meet the Candidate nights, you've been very graciously giving out a shout-out to your wife, and so we know that it does take time away from those comforts of just a normal life, if you would. So what gives you the drive and passion to succeed in running for this office? What is the drive behind that?
Well, for me, I believe that in every generation, there comes a point, usually in those generations, when crisis arises. And in those moments, it's been said historically, there are times that try men's souls. I believe we're in one of those seasons. And so as we have come into a crisis in our nation and have grown into a crisis, I believe, over many decades, as the Constitution has been ignored and these type of things, and we have come into this precipice, this moment where things are out of control, and I fear, and as an American, I fear as a person that loves liberty and freedom and those type of things that, we're as in much danger right now maybe than ever than moving very strongly into an area where we could lose those kind of things. So conviction began to grow in me that if I'm going to be a principled individual, if I'm going to care about my country, care about my liberties, care about my family, then it's in moments like this that men and women have to stand up and say, you know what, I have to be willing to set aside the ambitions that I have for life and say, right now, this is what I have to do for the sake of what's right, for the sake of my country, for the sake of freedom, liberty, for the sake of our children, our grandchildren. I feel like if we don't step up to the plate right now and do all that we can to push back what Ronald Reagan said could become 1,000 years of darkness, our children aren't going to be poor. Our grandchildren aren't just going to be without. They're going to be oppressed. And so I'm very convicted. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm willing to sacrifice everything that I really have to, because I believe if we don't, then we're going to lose it all anyway. And so you might as well lay it all aside and say, let's fight as hard as we can for what we know is right.
All right. Another simple question. President Obama was once asked, when does life begin? And his comment was, and it quite stunned a few people, that it was above his pay grade. Now, you and I probably both had basic high school sex education, and so we're going to ask you that question. Can you give us the answer of when life begins?
Obviously, there's a very moral and as you said, a medical explanation on this. Life begins at conception, and I feel that life should be preserved and protected at conception. I think that we have a lot of conflicting viewpoints or conflicting issues in our society right now regarding that point. I think you're talking about an abortion issue, and along those lines, in our culture right now, we have a conflicting issue in this. If a woman is pregnant and she gets hit by a drunk driver, he's charged with a double homicide or a double involuntary manslaughter. But that same woman could go and terminate the life of that child and not be charged with anything. And so constitutionally, and as was laid out by the Declaration of Independence, this culture that we live in has to be a protector of life. And if we can't protect life in the very basis form in the womb, then we have to really question the foundation of our culture. So I believe that life begins at conception and it needs to be protected there.